Hello, everybody. A very good evening to all of you. Welcome to our YouTube live session. And आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है will be, do you prepare a whole English sentence in your mind before you speak? So I will be sharing some experiences and some tips, and hopefully they help you and benefit you. So we'll wait for some more people to join in and we'll kickstart today's session. Um, Sorry, there was some glitch, so we weren't able to. I wasn't able to connect sharp. So here we are anyway. So let's get started. We'll wait for some more people to join in and we'll kickstart with today's live session. And अगर आपके पास कोई भी doubts हो, you have anything regarding your English doubts, or you want to know more about English partner, you can get in touch with us, you can get in touch with me. और हमारे पास लाइव चैट का भी एक बॉक्स है, कमेंट सेक्शन का एक बॉक्स है, सो यू कैन ऑल्सो फील फ्री टू ड्रॉप इन योर कमेंट्स, योर सजेशंस और योर क्वेश्चंस, एनीथिंग, एंड आई एम हियर टू हेल्प यू आउट टुडे. I think we'll start in another 5 minutes. So, till then, I would like to know how you all are doing, and how has your day been? How have you been preparing? Have you been learning? Have you been trying to prepare for English classes, or you want to join English partner? If there is anything at all, any questions, please feel free to ask me here in today's live session, and I will clear all your doubts. I think we'll wait just for some more time, just another 5 minutes, and we will kickstart today's live session. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully you all benefit out of our content today, because I think this is something most of us kind of can relate with, because most of us have been through similar situations where while we are learning English, or if we have already learned a new language, like if we are talking about English, if we have already learned English and we are trying to get better at it, but there is still somewhere we need help. So today's session will be helping you, giving you some tips, and sharing some of my personal experiences as well while I was learning English. So Yeah, I'm hoping for today's session to be fruitful, and I think just few more people join in, and we will start today's live. Meanwhile, again, if you have any doubts, any questions, anything related with English doubts, your grammatical vocabulary, or English partner in general, about English partner, our courses, you can let us know and let me know, and I will answer those questions to you. I think we'll slowly get into today's topic. I think few more people would join us. So, talking about today's topic, like I have mentioned, it's about, do you prepare an entire English session, a sentence, sorry, an English sentence in your mind before you speak? Okay, so basically, today we're going to be talking about two categories of the English language, okay, English level that you might be in. First would be a basic beginner level of English who are still learning and are getting better, like they want to learn, and उनका जो इंग्लिश के ऊपर जो कमांड होना चाहिए उतना नहीं है, and you are trying to learn English even more better. So you come under the beginner level of a beginner level of this particular English language. So when you are in a beginner level and you are just learning, right, you're just learning a new language. It can be related with any language. कोई भी language अगर हम देखें तो you have to start from the scratch, and if you feel like you don't know that particular language तो थोड़ा बहुत हमें सीखना पड़ता है. So English is a common language that we use or we speak mostly in the universe. It's the most used language. So because of that, a lot of us tend to learn and tend to use and speak this language. और पता भी है कि इंडिया में वी ऑल हैव आवर ओन मदर टंग्स, आवर ओन नेटिव लैंग्वेजेस, एंड समटाइम्स वी डोंट फील द नीड टू लर्न अनदर लैंग्वेज, मे इट बी इवन इंग्लिश फॉर दैट मैटर. वी डोंट फाइंड द नेसेसिटी टू डू सो. ओके, सो व्हेन यू आर एट अ बिगिनर लेवल एंड you are just learning, आप just start कर रहे हो, so for that also you need to think a little before you speak. कई बार क्या हो जाता है, जब हम नए नए सीखते हैं तो हम कुछ फॉर्मूला या फंडे जो हैं हम थोड़ा एक्सचेंज इधर उधर घुमा के वी ट्राई टू स्पीक समथिंग, बट वी डोंट अंडरस्टैंड whether we are right or we are wrong. So in a beginner level, I would suggest a couple of things you can follow. I feel like as a beginner you need to think before you speak. Think before you speak in your English language. But I don't find the same necessity when you're already in an intermediate or अगर आप advanced level में हो. I don't find it necessary for you to think before you talk, or when it comes to your grammar. That becomes more of a confidence issue that you might be facing, which I will be explaining further. So to start with a beginner level student, some tips I would like to share. जब भी हम सोच के भी कुछ बोलते हैं, how to train your mind to think before you speak. Mostly, one thing I would mainly suggest is start thinking in English. जो भी आपके मन में हो, स्टार्ट कन्वर्टिंग योर थॉट्स इन इंग्लिश. जनरली अगर हम सोचें कि हम अपने नेटिव लैंग्वेज में ही सब अपने हमारे दिमाग में चलता है, बट आई वुड सजेस्ट स्टार्ट थिंकिंग इन इंग्लिश. ओके, so this is one base you need to start with. You have to start thinking in English. Now moving on to the next, how to start thinking in English. Okay, first thing I would like to say is start thinking in single words. Now when we start thinking in single words, you start small, you start somewhere and you start really small. And मैं हमेशा स्टूडेंट्स को यही कहती हूँ कि आप स्टार्ट करो, यू स्टार्ट समवेयर, यू अराइव एट योर पर्टिकुलर एम और योर गोल. सो व्हेन यू स्टार्ट स्मॉल, यू स्टार्ट थिंकिंग इन वर्ड्स कि एक वर्ड, दो वर्ड, व्हाट वर्ड वुड यू लाइक टू यूज बेस्ड ऑन द सिचुएशन दैट यू आर टॉकिंग. ओके, सो फर्स्ट वी हैव एस्टैब्लिश्ड कि आप सिंगल वर्ड्स में आप सोचोगे. ओके, and try to relate with what you're trying to speak to also. After thinking in words, now आपको पता है कि आपको क्या convey करना है. So you're clear on what your conversation is going to be. So आपने already अपने मन में ये you have started thinking in words. Slowly start developing, और थोड़े words को आप join करके you slowly start creating thinking in sentences in your mind. Okay, so when you start thinking in sentences, what happens is you understand, आपको पता है कि आपको क्या बोलना है, you know what you want to convey, like I said before. So when you have your words clear and you start thinking in sentences, it makes it a little easier to talk to somebody. और इट कुड बी योर कोलीग, आपकी कोलीग हो, या आप कॉलेज में हो, आपके फेलो दोस्त हैं, उनके साथ बात करने में दिस मेक्स इट अ लिटिल ईजियर. ओके, सो नाउ वी हैव थॉट इन वर्ड्स, वी हैव स्टार्टेड थिंकिंग इन सिंगल वर्ड्स. पहले तो मैंने कहा था कि यू हैव टू स्टार्ट थिंकिंग इन इंग्लिश. जो भी आपके मन में हो, स्टार्ट कन्वर्टिंग इट इनटू इंग्लिश. आई अंडरस्टैंड कि टाइम लगेगा इफ़ यू आर अ बिगिनर लेवल स्टूडेंट, but let it take its time, क्योंकि you need to be sure of what you're speaking and whether you're speaking right or wrong. Okay, so now we've spoken about thinking about in single words and thinking in sentences. Next would be, I would say, is start relating with your surroundings. आपके दिन भर आपने क्या क्या किया है. Like start describing your day. So what do I mean by describing your day? So for example, I woke up in the morning and I went for a walk, and I came back and I had a glass of water. Okay, so I told very basic simple कि मैंने सुबह उठ के मैं walk पर गई थी and I came back and I had a glass of water. So you are only narrating what you have done. So you try to create, after you're thinking in single words and sentences, the next thing I would suggest is start describing your day. So when you start describing your day, आपको already पता है आपने दिन भर क्या किया है. So you just have to put it to words. Okay, so when you put it to words, आपको वो एक clarity भी मिलता है कि you have started practicing on your own with your own experience of the day. You're just describing your day, that's all, as simple as that. So very simple, just start thinking in single words, start thinking in sentences, and then next is start describing about your day. Okay, with me so far, hopefully. And next I would say is, now we have spoken about this. Next I would like to say is, for example, कल आपके पास एक मीटिंग है, कल आपका एक मीटिंग है और एक presentation. If you're in school or college, you have some presentation. So you try to understand कि अच्छा कल मेरा जो conversation होगा या मेरा presentation जो होगा इस topic के आधार होगा. So what could be the possible questions you will be asked? Just for example, like what would be the questions, आपको पता है कि ये आज का मेरा टॉपिक है, तो इसके ऊपर क्या क्या पूछेंगे, you just have a rough idea. Okay, so try to think in conversation. All right, so even if it is a job interview, like I think हमारे last month में हमने एक webinar किया था where we solely only focused on job interviews, how to crack job interviews. So even for that I told कि you have to prepare things in mind before. You need to already be able to tackle or handle questions that they ask you. So इसमें क्या होता है, when you start thinking in conversation, what happens is you kind of understand कि वो आपसे क्या पूछेंगे और आप क्या जवाब दे सकोगे. So this will keep you mentally prepared and you will be more confident because आपको already पता है कि लगभग ऐसे ही सवाल पूछेंगे या ऐसा ही कुछ रहेगा जो हम manage कर सकते हैं. So it will be on the same lines is what it is. So now that we've discussed about thinking in single words, thinking in sentences, describing your day, and thinking in conversation, next thing, one more thing that I would suggest कि जब भी आप किसी के साथ आप बात करते हो, need not be your friend, it could be somebody in your probably your teacher or your colleague, whoever it may be. So when आप कोई कॉन्वर्जेशन कोई इंग्लिश में बात कर रहा है और आपको थोड़ा बहुत समझ में नहीं आया एंड दे काइंड ऑफ यूज़ वर्ड्स दैट यू कांट अंडरस्टैंड, या तो ज़्यादा फास्ट बोल लेते हैं एंड यू आर नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड, बट you try to take notes or you try to type it out immediately कि उसने ये क्या word था मुझे समझ में नहीं आया. So just try to probably google it or try to understand what at least कौन से context में बात कर रहे थे, and try to take notes on a day-to-day basis, because when you learn something new, you hear something new, you hear two people talking and you feel like अच्छा ये कुछ नया मैंने सीखा, ये कुछ नया मैंने सुना है आज. So on basis of that I feel like you can start taking down notes and start reading your notes. And if you feel like आप कोई मूवी देख रहे हो, कोई मूवी या सीरीज़, आजकल तो हम सब सीरीज़ देख रहे हैं. So if you see any movie or some series and the way they are speaking, थोड़ा अलग होता है. if we look at some international series, उनका accent के ऊपर भी they have a little, there is some kind of change. So I would say कि start writing down whatever you feel like will help you in a day-to-day conversation with people, and start practicing it daily. This would be my next tip, is to practice it daily, because now आपने एक प्रोसेस स्टार्ट किया है. यू हैव स्टार्टेड थिंकिंग बिफोर यू टॉक बिकॉज यू वॉन्ट टू गेट बेटर एट द लैंग्वेज. आपको इंग्लिश में और अच्छा होना है, तो इसीलिए यू हैव स्टार्टेड इवन थिंकिंग इन इंग्लिश एंड यू हैव started working on it. You have started taking down notes, you have started learning new words. All of this is helping you now. So as and when you practice more and more every day, daily, you will see after few weeks, आप अपना एक आपका नोट्स का एक जब आप लिखते हो वो आप बुक खोलिए एंड स्टार्ट टू सी फ्रॉम डे 1 टिल, फॉर एग्जाम्पल 6 वीक्स आपने ये पूरा किया है. सो फ्रॉम week 1 till week 6, how much have you actually covered, or how far have you reached, how better you have become. Now one thing I'm sure all of you will ask me is कि मैं तो नोट सब लिख रही हूँ, जो भी नया है मैं ये सब कर रही हूँ, बट हु इज़ लुकिंग एट इट, ये मैं सही जा रही हूँ या गलत जा रही हूँ, आई डोंट नो. ओके, सो आई पर्सनली डोंट नो, मैं तो सीख रही हूँ अपने आप से, सो आई एम जस्ट गोइंग विद द फ्लो. ओके, बट what if you actually have somebody to guide you throughout. For example, आपका एक friend हो, या you have some known person who is probably better speaking in English and they can help you. but sometimes they may not be there to help you at all times, and you really want to get better at your language. So what happens then, I feel that you also need some additional support. So जब आप online जाते हो, there are many multiple courses that, or people who you have to probably pay on an hourly basis just to listen to them. I mean, they will listen to you and they will teach you, or they will correct your English. So these are couple of options you have. बट इफ़ यू वॉन्ट यू वॉन्ट वन पर्टिकुलर पर्सन जो आपके साथ रोज़ हो, एंड जो भी आप कर रहे हो फ्रॉम डे वन टिल दी डे लास्ट डे प्रॉब्ली आपके साथ खड़े हों. फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल इन इंग्लिश पार्टनर यू गेट ट्रेनर्स. आपके पास ट्रेनर्स मिलते हैं जो वन ऑन वन बेसिस में आपको इंग्लिश सिखाते हैं, एंड आपका डेली जो प्रोग्रेस है वो मॉनिटर करते हैं. सो फ्रॉम डे वन दे ऑलरेडी नो कि आपका इंग्लिश लेवल, लैंग्वेज लेवल कहाँ पर था, एंड हाउ बेटर इट हैज़ बिकम ओवर द टाइम. So this is one of the suggestions I would give you, is to try and find a partner who would help you in learning this English language. So getting back to the topic, now मैंने already ये beginner level के बारे में I have explained to you how preparing beforehand, preparing your speech or a whole sentence in your mind before you speak is important as a beginner level. But now you understand कि आप beginner level में नहीं हो, आप थोड़ी intermediate level में हो, so आपको पता है कि कहाँ क्या बोलना है, but still you get confused with some grammar or with the vocabulary. So what happens with that? So basically जब आपका कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल लो हो जाता है कि यू डोंट नो वेदर यू आर गोइंग इन द राइट ट्रैक और नॉट, सो व्हाट हैपन्स इज यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आपको ऑलरेडी इंग्लिश पता है, वोकैबलरी या ग्रामर में यू स्टिल फील यू नीड सम हेल्प, या मेनली अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल डोंट हैव सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस. सो व्हेन यू डोंट हैव सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस यू फील वेरी डीमोटिवेटेड, और आपको लगता है ठीक है छोड़ दो, मुझे इंग्लिश नहीं चाहिए, आई डू वांट टू लर्न. बट दैट इज़ द टाइम यू एक्चुअली नीड टू स्टार्ट. ओके, सो why shouldn't you speak? So like I said, there are two categories of people. When in a beginner level it's necessary to think before you speak, as and when you learn. But if you have issues, or you have some problems where you can't talk because of your self confidence, then I have another suggestion for you, and I have some more tips for you in that line. अगर आप इंटरमीडिएट लेवल में हो एंड आपको लगता है कि मुझे और बेटर होना चाहिए, सो ऑन अ डे टू डे बेसिस इफ़ आई से, आपका डे टू डे जो कॉन्वर्जेसन हो आपके फैमिली, फ्रेंड्स या कोलीग्स के साथ रोज़ होता है, but how to kind of break from this, how to stop thinking too much before talking. क्या होता है, so अगर आप किसी के साथ बात करते हो और वो कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं एंड यू आर जस्ट थिंकिंग कि ओ गॉड कितना टाइम लगेगा, वो सोच रहे होंगे कि ये जवाब क्यों नहीं दे रहे हैं, बट एक्चुअली आपके मन में आप पूरा सेंटेंस फ्रेम कर रहे हैं, वन वर्ड बाय वर्ड आप फ्रेम कर रहे हो. So what I would like to say is, first, number one is be conscious and be confident, because I feel like don't take too much time before answering something. नहीं तो वो दूसरे जो आप किसी के साथ बात कर रहे हो वो they just lose interest. So how to do that is start saying something in return, कि जो भी क्वेश्चन या जो भी कॉन्वर्जेसन चल रहा है, जस्ट ट्राई टू रिप्लाई और जस्ट ट्राई टू टॉक समथिंग ऑन दैट, ऑन दोज लाइन्स. सो आई फील लाइक most of the time, 90% of the time, you really don't need time to think before you speak, because जो भी questions पूछते हैं you already know कि अच्छा थोड़ा बहुत तो you already know what to speak. सो दैट इज़ नंबर वन कि आपको ऑलरेडी पता है कि आपको क्या जवाब देना है. For example, they say, "Hi, how are you? How was your day?" You already know कि हाँ, my day was good or my day wasn't that great. You already know that reply. You know what to say, but you're taking some time to say it. So just start by saying some words. अगर आपको लगता है कि आप पूरे sentence जो है frame नहीं कर सकते हो, तो start again. Start small. I would always say that कि start somewhere, start small. So, and after you do that, what happens is you start to get a little more better and you get more confident जब आप बात करते हो. So, and another thing is, आप ज़्यादा मत सोचिए. Like जो भी conversation चल रहा हो, don't think too much, because I feel that is again a time waste for you as well as the other person you're talking to. So the lesser you kind of think and you just give some answer, like अगर आपको लगता है कि जो वो क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं you didn't even understand the question, it's really okay. It's really okay. You can just ask them again कि you can say I didn't get you, or you can say can you please repeat what you said, or you can say कि I didn't understand what you just said. You can be very humble, politely आप पूछिए कि अगर आपको समझ में नहीं आया तो you can ask, it's okay. They will repeat, for sure they will repeat. So and so you can start with that, and this is a conversation starter basically. आपका जो conversation break करने में, like ice breaking kind of a thing, जब two people talk, you just have to reply something. So don't stay silent for too long, okay? So like I already said कि day to day जो basis में हम बात करते हैं will be people who are always surrounding with us. And one more thing is, जब mostly हम जो when we are born, I mean all these years that we've been हमारे family में, हम ज़्यादातर हमारे native language में या mother tongue में ही बात करते हैं. So we don't really need English to speak to probably our family members or friends who know the same language. But we need to cultivate that habit when we go work somewhere or study anywhere abroad. So even when I talk about abroad studying, जब हमें कहीं पे हमें लगता है कि you're very good at your academics, but even to go apply abroad, they see your English language scorecard. So there is something called as IELTS, IELTS, जहाँ पर वो आपको वो एक एग्ज़ाम देना पड़ता है, and only if you score a good mark, like I think above 6, only then they give you they give you that they give you offer letter in universities. So that is one thing that is very important, and English partner actually teaches gives specific course training for IELTS. And if you want to, अगर आपको लगता है कि आप थोड़ा 1 साल में या 2 साल में आपको फॉरेन जाके आपको पढ़ना है, so I feel you have to undergo some kind of IELTS training if you are if you're not very strong with your English language, because that is very important. कहाँ पर जहाँ पर भी आप जाइए, mostly they tend to see your IELTS score. So if you are looking to apply to any university and you want to get better in your English, I think you have to opt for this IELTS training that English Partner suggests. And this will benefit you a lot, and you will get a good score in your IELTS, and I'm sure most of you will come back to me after you are done with your IELTS training. So yeah, so moving on with what we were discussing about how at an intermediate level you don't have to think too much before you speak. So like I was saying कि रोज़ जो हम बात करते हैं हमारे colleagues या friends के साथ, या हमारे meetings, discussions जो होते हैं, there are elaborate meetings or discussions for which we need to talk, we need to speak, and we need to keep keep the conversation going. So for that, I would suggest the things that I have mentioned for a beginner level student does not entirely apply for an intermediate level. So you need to break free. You need to, just break free, and you need to have your confidence moving along. So उससे क्या होता है, उससे क्या होता है, you feel like you can strike any conversation with any person, and it could be in any topic. So you can just casually have a discussion with anybody, and you don't have to think too much also. So one thing I would say is start with some kind of a small talk. स्मॉल टॉक क्या होता है, हाय हेलो टाइप्स की, हाय हाउ आर यू, हाउ इज़ योर डे, हाउ इज़ योर जॉब गोइंग, हाउ इज़ योर वर्क बिन, हाउ इज़ योर फैमिली. दिस इज़ ऑल स्मॉल टॉक वेयर आप सिर्फ एक दूसरे के बारे में बेसिक जो जानकारी है, यू जस्ट ट्राई टू एक्सचेंज योर डे टू डे टॉक्स विद somebody. So once you start doing that, you start speaking in small phrases, small talk, you slowly develop to more conversations if you find any common ground. Commonly, अरे हाँ, for example, one of your friends is in some particular college, and even their friend is in that college. Oh, even my friend is in that same college, and you can strike a conversation about the college, your friends. You can have a more discussion. So from small talk or phrases, it moves on to a conversation, a proper conversation. So this, if you do it on a day-to-day basis, if you speak to somebody who can even correct your grammar or correct your vocabulary also while you're speaking, then there is nothing better than that. Trust me, if someone is helping you through this process, you are truly blessed. So start working on that. तो उसके बाद अगर आपके पास, like I mentioned before, presentation हो या meetings हो, I would sincerely request that you keep a kind of preparation of what you're going to talk beforehand. So if you kind of practice introducing yourself, presentations में होता है ना कि आप आके आप अपने आप को introduce करते हो, आपका topic introduce करते हो, and then you kind of get into the whole process. So start practicing with that. Start practicing small again, like about your introduction or your topic, or how you're going to frame sentences. So as in when you practice that also, I feel this would be really good. This will be very very beneficial, and this will help boost your confidence. So this is one more thing. And another thing what I would like to say is, most of us, another fear that most of us have is, जब हम बात करते हैं, even if it's a small talk or if it's a conversation or it's a presentation that you're giving, most of us fear that we are going to make some mistake in our grammar or in our vocabulary. क्या उनको समझ में आएगा भी या नहीं. So with that, I feel what happens is, like, a lot of us get that stage fright or something that you don't know how to present. So even with that, I would say break that thought in your mind and take a risk, and it's completely normal, and it's totally okay if you are going wrong. Like it's 100% okay if you're going wrong somewhere, आपका grammar इधर उधर चला गया. It's completely okay. It's okay to make mistakes. So one thing is, it's okay to make mistakes, but another thing is you have to learn from your mistakes as well. So ये नहीं कि अच्छा हाँ मैंने ये आज कैसे भी करके मैंने वो ख़त्म कर लिया, बाद में देख लेंगे. But I feel then and there, if you understand कि आपने वो mistake किया है, immediately try to rectify your mistake, however it would have been. What happens with that is, आपके पास वो एक सेल्फ अवेयरनेस हो जाता है कि हाँ मैंने ये बात की है, एंड हाँ मैंने ये मिस्टेक किया है, एंड मुझे समझ में आ गया कि मुझे अगली बार कैसे करना है, and you work towards it, you learn, and then you get better for your next meeting or preparation, presentation of any sort. So So these are some tips that I feel are useful in a long run, because मैंने already discuss कर लिया है कि as a beginner level of student what are the kind of tips or what kind of steps you need to kind of follow if you are thinking or if you're not at all thinking कि आप कैसे भी करके आप दो लैंग्वेजेस में मिक्स अप करके आप बात कर लेते हो, या नेटिव लैंग्वेज में हो या in English, because sometimes we don't really know what to speak in English, so we kind of mix up and we talk. So I have given some suggestions, so I'll give a quick brief or a summary of how a beginner level student has to, what kind of steps they need to follow. So like I suggested कि start thinking in single words, and next would be is जब आप single words में आप think करते हो, start thinking in English basically. अगर for example we tend to think a lot, like all of us, before doing anything. So for example एक पेन या कुछ भी book गिर गया है, so immediately in your mind it should be, oh, I dropped my book, oh, I dropped the pen. So even for something very small, very very basic, start thinking in English. So उससे क्या होता है, आपका लैंग्वेज जो एनहांस होता है और कल्टिवेट होने लगता है, एंड यू गेट मोर एंड मोर बेटर एट योर लैंग्वेज स्पीकिंग. And so we spoke about thinking in single words. Next would be is thinking in sentences. जो भी वर्ड्स जो भी आप कम्युनिकेट करना चाहते हो, उनको सेंटेंसेस में लाके यू ट्राई टू स्ट्राइक अ कॉन्वर्सेशन. Next would be is, I would say, like I said, describing your day. So day to day basis में जो भी होता है, like for example I was saying कि I woke up in the morning and I took a long walk and I came back and I had a glass of water. All these small things जो भी आपने दिन भर किया है, start narrating it as a story. Like in English, start narrating your day as a story, and try to talk to people who can help you out with if you're going right or wrong in your grammar. And describing your day and thinking in conversation. So more and more that you think कि अगर कल आपका एक, जैसे कि मीटिंग में, आई थिंक आई ऑलरेडी मेंशन दिस, स्टार्ट थिंकिंग इन कॉन्वर्सेशन. स्टार्ट थिंकिंग कि ओके, हाउ डू आई रिप्लाई टू सर्टेन क्वेश्चंस और सर्टेन सिचुएशंस, या छोटा बहुत एक स्पीच देना पड़ता है. इफ़ यू हैव डन रियली वेल इन योर वर्क और योर कॉलेज एंड यू हैव रिसीव्ड सम काइंड ऑफ एन अवार्ड, हाउ डू यू एक्सेप्टेंस स्पीच जो होता है, समथिंग वेरी बेसिक विद दैट. You can start preparing speeches that you can talk about and use it in your day-to-day conversations also. And yeah, I think another thing would be is to take down notes. As and when आप कुछ नया सीखते हो, नया सुनते हो, try to take down as much of notes as possible. I think this would really benefit you in the long run. And after you start taking down notes, you also have to practice them daily. And जब भी, if irrespective of the level of English proficiency that you have, may it be a basic, intermediate or advanced, the more you practice, the more you learn. Because English एक ऐसा language है जो there are new things coming up, as in words or something that is always new to speak, but grammar या vocabulary वो हमेशा same रहता है. So try to update and upgrade yourself in the language that you are learning, especially since we are focusing here on English, since it is one of the most accepted languages worldwide. So आप जहाँ पर भी हो, आई फील इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज इज़ रियली रियली इम्पॉर्टेंट. एंड एज अ स्टूडेंट, इफ़ यू फील कि you want to study somewhere abroad, and you need some kind of help even with your English proficiency in that case, so I feel English Partner is one of the platforms you can opt for, and you can learn you can improve your English with us here at इंग्लिश पार्टनर. एंड अगर आपके पास कोई सजेशंस हो in terms of live, I think I'm not able to view the live chat for some reason. If you have been sending me anything, I am not able to view the live chat, but I will look into it and I will reply to you after this live is completed. I will reply to your questions if there have been any. um, एंड या सो आई वांटेड योर सजेशंस. अगर आपके पास कोई एक टॉपिक हो जहाँ पर आपको लगता है कि वी कैन डू अ लाइव अबाउट इट और वी कैन हैव अ वेबिनार रिगार्डिंग टू दैट टॉपिक. अगर टॉपिक थोड़ा लंबा हो, एलैबोरेट हो, जैसे कि लास्ट टाइम हमने किया था, वी हैड केप्ट कंप्लीट इंटरव्यू क्रैक session, and we have another webinar happening on coming on 18th November. So it will be myself, and we have our soft skills trainer who will be joining us. And trust me, and I'm really happy with the kind of response जो हमें मिल रहा है आप सबकी तरफ से. You are always dropping in your suggestions या questions आप clear करते हो. So I feel even we feel happy जो जब आप कोई doubts पूछते हो, and you know we help you out and clear it out. I think that is also really good. So if you have any suggestions in terms of what kind of live topics or webinars we can do, please feel free to get in touch with us, and you can drop in your suggestions and comments. And if you want to join English Partner, अगर आपको English Partner का course join करना है, and if I have to explain, we have 3 levels of training. एक है basic, intermediate और advanced level. So you just have to give a very simple basic level test होता है, from which we can assess कि आप कौन सी category या कौन से level की training की आवश्यकता आपको होगी. And उस हिसाब से you will be getting your trainer who will be a one-on-one trainer being with you throughout. And yes, as I've mentioned, we have IELTS training also. So and you can get in touch with us through our website, और एक लिंक होगा, व्हाट्सएप लिंक होगा, या इफ इट्स ऑन द कमेंट सेक्शन दैट यू आर एबल टू व्यू, please click on that link and you will be redirected to our counselor, and our counselor will be helping you with your process, admission process हो, या you have questions, any questions regarding English Partner, और या हमारे courses के बारे में आपको ज़्यादा जानकारी अगर आपको चाहिए, so you can get in touch with us very easily on Facebook also, Instagram, and our website, which will redirect to our WhatsApp link also. You can get to know more about us and हमारे students के बारे में, maybe आप हमारे trainers के बारे में भी you can have a lot more information. And I feel it will help both you and us. So thank you for today's live session. Thank you for all of you for attending. आज का जो live session है, I think it got a little small glitch, so really sorry about that. We'll make sure this doesn't happen again. So until then, this is me, Rishita. I'm a senior trainer here at English Partner. So signing off, and hopefully to meet you all at our next live session. That will be, I think our next live session probably will be happening soon, but our webinar is happening next week, that is on 18th. So make sure you're here, you're joining us for our webinar session. So until then, goodbye and take care.